The moment I caught my wife cheating, my world didn't just crack. It shattered into a million jagged pieces, each one cutting deeper than the last. I'm Jake, just a regular guy who thought he had it all. A loving wife, a cozy home, and a life I'd spent years building. 5 years ago, I walked away from it all without a word, disappearing like a ghost. Now she's found me, and I'm forced to face the wreckage I left behind. Let me take you back to where it all began. I met Sarah in college, her laugh lighting up a crowded lecture hall like nothing else mattered. She was bold, with this wild spark in her eyes that made me feel alive. We were young, stupidly in love, and after graduation, we built a life together in a small suburban house with a creaky porch and a backyard we dreamed of filling with kids someday. I worked as a mechanic, hands always stained with grease, while Sarah taught at the local elementary school. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Movie nights on the couch, her stealing my fries at dinner, the way she'd hum off-key while doing dishes. Those little moments felt like forever. But forever started to fray. It was subtle at first, like a thread slowly unraveling. Sarah started staying late at school, claiming parent meetings or grading papers. I'd come home to an empty house, the silence louder than it should have been. Her phone was always face down, and when I'd ask about her day, her answers were vague, her smile tight. "Just busy," she'd say, brushing it off. I told myself it was nothing, just the stress of her job. But doubt is a quiet poison. It creeps in, settles deep, and before you know it, you're questioning everything. One night I couldn't shake the feeling. It was like a weight pressing on my chest, heavy and unyielding. Sarah said she was meeting a colleague to plan a school event, but something in her voice, too casual, too rehearsed, made my skin prickle. I don't know what possessed me, but I followed her. My truck rumbled behind her car as she drove past the school, past the coffee shop she mentioned, and into a part of town we rarely went. She pulled into the parking lot of a dim-lit bar, and I watched, heart pounding, as she walked inside. I sat there for an hour, gripping the steering wheel, telling myself to drive away. But I couldn't. When I finally pushed through the bar's heavy door, the smell of stale beer hit me, and there she was, my Sarah, tucked in a corner booth, laughing with a man I'd never seen. His hand was on hers, their faces too close, her eyes sparkling in a way I hadn't seen in months. My stomach twisted, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. I didn't confront her. I just stood there, invisible, watching my life crumble. When I got home, I sat in the dark, replaying every moment of our marriage. Was it me? Was I not enough? The questions clawed at me, but worse was the memory of her laugh, so carefree with him, so different from the strained smile she gave me. When she came home, smelling faintly of his cologne, I couldn't hold it in. "Sarah," I said, my voice low, trembling. "Where were you tonight?" She froze, her purse still in her hand. "I told you I was with Lisa, planning the spring fair." "Don't lie to me." The words came out sharper than I meant, and her eyes widened. "I saw you. At the bar. With him." Her face crumpled, but not with guilt, with defiance. "You followed me?" she snapped, like I was the one who'd betrayed her. "You don't trust me?" "How could I?" I shouted, my voice breaking. "You were with another man, Sarah." Laughing, touching him like I don't even exist. She didn't deny it. She just stood there, lips pressed tight, eyes glistening. "Jake, I didn't mean for it to happen," she finally whispered. "It was a mistake. I was lonely, and you were always working, and—" "Don't—" I cut her off, my chest heaving. "Don't make this my fault." I wanted to scream, to beg her to take it back, to make it untrue. But the truth was there, raw and ugly, tearing us apart. I didn't sleep that night. By morning I'd made up my mind. I couldn't stay in a house that felt like a lie, in a life that wasn't mine anymore. I packed a bag, left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter, and walked out. No note, no goodbye, just silence. I drove across the country, from Ohio to a small coastal town in Oregon, where no one knew my name. I got a job fixing boats, lived in a one-room apartment, and tried to rebuild a life from the ashes of the one I'd lost. But the pain followed me, a shadow I couldn't outrun. For 5 years I kept my head down, avoiding anything that reminded me of her. No social media, no calls home, no ties to the past. I thought I'd escaped, but last week I saw her. I was grabbing coffee at a local shop when the door chimed, and there she was, Sarah, standing in the doorway, her face pale, her eyes locked on mine. She looked older, worn, like the years had been heavy on her too. "Jake," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I've been looking for you. I froze, my coffee cup burning my hand. Why? I managed my throat tight. I needed to find you, she said, stepping closer, tears brimming. I messed up. I know I did. But I never stopped loving you. I've spent years trying to fix what I broke. Her words hit me like a wave, stirring up all the hurt I'd buried. Part of me wanted to believe her, to fall back into the life we had. But the other part, the part that still felt the sting of her betrayal, knew I couldn't. You don't get to do this, I said, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest. You don't get to show up and rewrite the story. You broke us, Sarah. And I had to learn how to live with that. She cried then, soft sobs that made my heart twist. But I didn't reach for her. I couldn't. I'm sorry, she whispered, but it wasn't enough. Never would be. I walked away, leaving her standing in that coffee shop, the same way I'd left our home 5 years ago. I didn't look back. Some wounds don't heal no matter how much you want them to. And as I stepped into the salty Oregon air, I realized I wasn't running anymore. I was choosing myself, scars and all, and that was enough.